All right. Welcome back, everybody. Time for our next session. We're delighted to move on to our second fireside chat of the day, featuring Stephanie Cartin and Courtney Spritzer, and this one will be moderated by Kevin Hallock. Quick background on our guests. So Stephanie and Courtney are the co-founders of Socialfly, which is, I've just learned, the #1 women-owned and operated social media agency in the world. Within 8 years, Socialfly has been named to the Inc.'s 5,000 fastest growing private companies 2 years in a row. And they've worked with over 300 brands, including ones you've heard about, such as Girl Scouts, Discovery, WeTV, Slim Fast, 20th Century Fox, Univision, and Con Air. In 2020, like the rest of us, they took the company remote and quickly developed solutions to keep the company culture strong. As a result of the challenges they faced while working from home, Stephanie and Courtney created DigiCards, a fun, innovative, I knew you were going to do that, tool to improve virtual meetings. I actually got a whole bunch of them and sent them to my staff at EHC, and we used them during our meetings as well. Stephanie and Courtney also co-founded the Entreprenista media, through which they co-host the Entreprenista podcast. They together co-authored the book, Live, Love, Follow, the Entreprenerista's Guide to Using Social Media to Grow Your Business. It's like you guys are sisters or something. The duo has been recognized with some of the industry's top awards, including Smart CEO Bravo Awards, Drum's 50 Under 30 in Digital Marketing, and the Stevie Awards for Women Run Workplace of the Year. So with Kevin, Kevin has served as the deans of both the School of Industrial and Labor Relations, which is where I went to Cornell for, and the S.C. Johnson College of Business. And now he's leaving Cornell, to become the president of the University of Richmond. We are going to miss Kevin. I'm personally going to miss Kevin a lot. I'm so thankful for all that you've done, Kevin, for entrepreneurship at Cornell. He's been a huge asset to our program and for the whole entire entrepreneurship ecosystem. So with that, let's get started. Kevin, I'll turn it over to you. And as a reminder, I'll be jumping in and out with questions. So when you see my video pop up, that'll be your cue. So let's go.
Okay, thanks so much, Zach. And welcome everyone. I'm delighted to be here today with Stephanie and Courtney. I'm sorry, Stephanie and Courtney, I didn't yet get a sweatshirt. I intended to have ordered a sweatshirt, an Entreprenista sweatshirt or t-shirt and wear it. They're here, but all of those who are online with us can order their own from your website. They're really pretty cool. I want to thank you both for your inspiration and for all you do to support others. You've got
Kevin, I forgot one thing. For the audience, just a reminder to stick your questions in the chat, and that way I will see them.
Right. So Stephanie and Courtney, they're two really quite different organizations. Although I don't understand the nuance, you could probably tell us why they're very similar in fundamental ways. But you're doing a lot to support other people in their organizations, either through Socialfly or through Entreprenista, supporting the work of other entrepreneurs. The work is absolutely amazing. The volume of the podcasts and the book and the diversity of subjects that you cover. So I'm going to just jump in with some questions and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start with you, Stephanie. Can you tell us all a little bit about what led you both to start Socialfly first and then Entreprenista, and where did those visions come from, and where did you meet each other and decide to co-found these organizations together?
Yes, absolutely. And what a great question. And thank you both so much for having us here today. We're so excited to meet everyone and connect with everyone. And I'm, of course, honored to be speaking to the Cornell community, having graduated from Cornell. And Socialfly and my vision for starting Socialfly actually stems back to Cornell. So back in 2004, it was my sophomore year at Cornell, and I got access to a platform that was called thefacebook.com. And I remember getting access to this, new platform that everyone was starting to use on campus. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to change everything I'm learning about in college and marketing and business. I was in the hotel school, but I didn't quite know how exactly back then, but I knew things were about to change. And I always stayed on the forefront of everything that was happening with social media. When I graduated, I first went to work in sales and marketing in the hospitality industry. And then I moved to New York City for another role in sales and marketing and hospitality. And I had a lot of friends who were reaching out to me. And because of my background in sales and marketing and my passion for social media, they were coming to me asking for these sales and marketing strategies for their new startups. And I started telling them, you have to start using social media for your business. This really is the way of the future. And this now is back like 2009, 2010. So fast forward, I meet Courtney, my best friend and now business partner through a mutual friend. And our mutual friend was also an Entreprenista. And we became fast friends and we're talking about our passion for business, entrepreneurship, starting a business, and social media. And we decided to partner together on the side of our full-time jobs, taking on a few clients on the side. We were working nights and weekends for about 10 months before we said, okay, if this is going to be a real business, we have to go all in and do it or not do it at all, because it was too much to be working full-time and trying to manage all of these client accounts on the side. So on May 4th of 2012, we took the leap, we handed in our 2 weeks notice and quit our corporate jobs to launch Socialfly full time. So what happened next, over the years, our agency really started to grow and take off. And we'll definitely share some more behind the scenes of how that all happened. But we were quickly named on the Inc. 5000 list for fastest growing companies. And we started getting all of this outreach from other founders, specifically a lot of female founders who were looking for advice and help and wanted to really learn how to grow their business and hear how we were able to do it. And Courtney and I are the type of people that like to help absolutely everyone, as you'll learn. But we started to realize if we were to go out to coffee with every single person that reached out, we would never have time to run our core business, which at the time was just Socialfly. So we started thinking, how can we do this at scale and not just share our story over and over again over coffee, but share all of these incredible stories of these women who are starting businesses and all of the lessons that they've learned along the way. And that was our, aha moment. We need to start this podcast, Entreprenista, so we can share all of these stories. So we launched our podcast in November of 2018, and it really took off from that very first episode, I think for two key reasons. One, we run a marketing agency, so of course we knew how to put a marketing strategy behind the launch of our podcast. But two, it was really all of the content we were sharing. It was so compelling. People wanted to consume it. They wanted to share it with their friends and other entrepreneistas. So the first year of the podcast, it really was just like an after work activity, kind of like how we started Socialfly. And then last year, right around this time, when everything started with the pandemic, we were getting so much outreach from women who were looking for more help. They needed to pivot their business. They needed, recommendations for accountants and attorneys. And we knew we couldn't leave all of these women hanging who needed our help. So Courtney and I decided we were really going to lean into Entreprenista and separate it from Socialfly and build out a full community and support for all of these women with programming and connection and community. And we're actually launching our private membership community next week. So that was my, I'm so sorry, a few minute version of everything that's happened over the past 9 years.
I wonder if we could switch over to Courtney. Courtney, you could tell us a little bit about the evolution of Socialfly. So Stephanie's told us a little bit about how the spin out into the second organization, but could you tell us how Socialfly in the time has evolved since you started?
Yes, I'm happy to do so. And thank you for having me join as well. I'm honored to be here. Socialfly evolves every single day. When we look back at our 9-year journey, and we're actually going to be celebrating 9 years in business on Tuesday, Stephanie and I have learned so much every single day since running the business. When we first started, social media was a really tough sell, actually, back in 2012. We really had to convince businesses to invest in social media. And a lot of times business owners were very reluctant to even invest a few $100s on Facebook. As you can imagine, that has dramatically changed, especially last year during the pandemic, where e-commerce and digital marketing have become more relevant than ever. In the past 9 years, we've grown to a team of 30 people. We have added on new capabilities each year. And right now we have services in creative production. We actually have our own in-house studio where we can do full photo shoots, video shoots, any type of content you need, we can produce. We also have an influencer marketing division that can handle basically any size influencer campaign. And then we also have our paid media department, which can buy and optimize and scale Facebook and Instagram ads for a lot of our clients.
What about maybe a little bit more detail on the evolution of Entreprenista and how that has, I realize you're starting something new next week, but why the decision to start that and how that came about? Maybe a little bit more about the decision of separating this into a different organization.
Stephanie and I have so many ideas for businesses probably every single day. We experience a problem, we're like, oh, there should be a solution for that, or oh, there should be a business for that. And what we realized last year during the pandemic was it really forced us to take a deep look at our vision for Socialfly and also our personal aspirations. And we had always talked about scaling and growing Entreprenista to be so much more than just a podcast, because we saw how many women needed help. We were those women that needed help in the early days and had no idea what we were doing. We would just go around and ask experts or people we didn't even know for help. But thankfully, they were so willing to help us. And we wanted to give back that support to other women. And through working remotely, we actually saved a lot of commuting time. You know, we used to commute everywhere in New York City, commute to business meetings, commute to the office, and that really gave us back a few hours of our day. And in doing so, we used that time to put together a business plan for what Entreprenista can be. And then we also decided that we're going to divide up our responsibilities, and Stephanie is going to lead Entreprenista, and I'm going to continue to grow and scale Socialfly, and we'll be supporting each other and helping each other along the way.
So could you talk a little bit, maybe Stephanie, about the switch to the pivot with COVID last year? So how did the pandemic affect you? How did you handle it as entrepreneurs? And how has it changed maybe the way you think about re-engaging as society hopefully is opening up in the coming months?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, taking you back to March of last year, as business owners, much like, you know, many of the business owners we were speaking to, we were scared. We were actually terrified. You know, I remember calling Courtney saying like, we might lose our whole business. All of our clients are going to go away. You know, our clients were scared at that point. And it was affecting every single business. So we were very scared, but thank goodness, you know, we had each other as business partners where, you know, we talk, you know, all the time, every single day. And even though we weren't physically in our office and we were now, you know, just right away managing everything remotely, we were connected essentially 24/7, trying to figure everything out. What really helped us, two big things. One, we've had a business coach that we've worked with for many years who has been an incredible sounding board to us. And we had her to lean on to be able to help us problem solve and figure out what we were going to do, because there was a lot of moving parts that we had to figure out immediately. And the second thing is our network of other entrepreneurs and business owners that we have really great connections and relationships with. So right away, I started a weekly meeting with this other group of agency owners so we could brainstorm together each week how we were going about figuring out these problems and challenges in our business, from pivoting and having everyone start working remotely and working from home, setting up all of our IT solutions from home, closing our physical office for a few months. And then Courtney and I decided that at that point, since our physical office was closed for those few months and we weren't sure when we were going to be able to go back in, both of our personal leases happened to be up at the end of May last year. And it made both Courtney and I really reflect on what was important to us personally in our lives and what we ultimately wanted. And something Courtney and I have talked about for many years, even before this, was we want to be in Florida half the year. We want to open a Florida office. I joke that after my experience at Cornell, I love it very much, but I'm allergic to the winter time is my joke. And I said, I never want to see the snow again. Now's the time, let's move to Florida. So we worked with our business coach to put together a plan, and we decided to both move down here. And, much of our team is still in the New York area, but we've now been able to hire across the country in a few other states. And it's definitely opened up the talent pool for being able to hire people all over and not just in the New York City area. And, as hard and horrible, especially as those first few months were, just dealing with all the change and the panic and the unknown, we've definitely made the best of absolutely everything, and are very grateful we've been able to turn a really hard time and challenge into something positive.
So I'm going to switch back. I'm playing ping pong here, back to Courtney, and think a little bit about whether you intend to have can you imagine having your entire team stay remote, or at least partially remote? That's part A. And part B, can you talk a little bit about the company culture when going remote, your sort of concerns at the start of that, and then how that's evolved and how your thinking has evolved on that going forward? There's obviously, I'm wearing slippers right now, for example. There's some benefit to that. I wouldn't be wearing slippers if we were at the Time Center or wherever we might be having that. So if you could talk a little bit about that, but with specific emphasis on your company's culture.
Yes, that is a great question. And when we first went remote back in March, we thought it was only going to be for 2 weeks. And when we realized this was going to be much longer, we quickly figured out, or went to figure out, what processes and what do we put in place to keep everyone together. So we reached out to our network, actually a business owner that had a remote company since day one with hundreds of employees. And we said, well, how do you do it? How do you keep everyone together? And what did you put in place in terms of your standard operating procedures? And one of the things she shared with us is she makes everyone sign a work from home agreement. And in that agreement, it reminds people that even though you're at home, there are still certain hours where you're required to work. And this is what your workstation needs to look like. And this is our expectation of what working from home means. So we quickly went to work to establish what that was. The other thing that we did that we have scaled back on over time was we were so nervous because our culture is so important to us, and going into the office and seeing, everyone collaborate together is really what has pushed Socialfly forward. So we wanted to keep that collaboration alive. And I'll admit to you, we definitely overdid it. We were scheduling meetings with everyone every single day during lunchtime to get people. We would call them like digital dance parties just to force breaks. Then we scheduled more meetings with the management team every day, and check-ins with the team on Fridays, just to make sure we were constantly checking in and over communicating. And then as time went on, we realized, okay, Zoom fatigue is real, and these back-to-back video meetings can make you feel like you're in one endless video meeting. And I remember in May, we were on a video meeting with our entire team. And when we got off the phone or the video chat, I called Stephanie. I was like, I have this idea, that meeting, everyone was talking over each other. We would ask a question and no one would say anything. And it was so hard to engage. And I thought, what if we could create these virtual cards? You can't see it because I have a virtual screen. But maybe Stephanie could show it. Yes. Where people can collaborate better in their Zoom meetings, and you can solve the typical Zoom problems faster with someone being on mute, or you can't hear them, or there's a technical glitch. We reached back out to someone who had bartered with us for office space and really helped us out in the early days. He owns a printing company. His name is Frank. And we said, Frank, this is the idea. Do you want to print these? Can you print these? What do you think of the idea? He's like, yeah, absolutely, could do it. He sent us a sample in less than a week, and we bought some for the entire team, tested it out. It worked so well. We decided, okay, we have been helping brands with their marketing for the last 8-ish years. Now let's try to see if we could do this for ourselves. And we did. We launched Hello Digicards, and it's been really great. We sell this one product, and there may be more coming, so stay tuned, because we do really believe that remote working is the way of the future. The other blessing in this project of Digicards was that we were able to also give back and help a small business owner, Frank, whose business was really hurting from in-person events not happening, because that was a lot of his printing job. So everything kind of came full circle last year, and we were in the position to help others through the launch of this product and hopefully help other business owners. And now, as we look to the future, we still have our New York office. We'll likely open it for people who want to come in and meet in person, maybe once or twice a week. But we've also hired people all over the country. So bringing everyone back to an office wouldn't be financially possible for us at this point. And quite honestly, I don't even know how I would function going to work every day. I've gotten so used to this.
Hey, Kevin, I got to jump in with a question here.
Sure.
So after the initial pandemic shock that we all went through last March, I mean, it seems to me that there's a bunch of companies that would benefit from the pandemic, like Moderna. Okay, there's a bunch of companies that would not benefit from the pandemic, obviously. But did you guys quickly realize that Socialfly could greatly benefit because your clients needed to amplify themselves? People are all at homes, they're on their phones constantly, they're on social constantly at home. Did you see it as a big opportunity?
Yes, it's so funny when Stephanie was saying earlier how scared she was. I would say usually it's the reverse. I'm the one that's laying out all the worst case scenarios, but in this instance, I was the one saying, this could turn into an incredible and, unfortunate opportunity for everyone, but a big opportunity for us, because now you can only communicate through digital, and digital is more relevant than ever. So we had to quickly go to all of our clients and put together materials on what this could mean for their business and why social media was more important now than ever. And we also looked at our client base. We did have some companies, a car dealership, a restaurant, some brands that were reliant on retail as their distribution. So we did have some clients that were impacted, and that did impact us in the short term just because of who our clients were at the time. But a lot of our clients too quickly pivoted to figure out their e-commerce strategies, set up their own websites, and we helped them with that process. So we did experience some kind of short-term pausing of clients, but that did rebound probably after 3 to 5 months after the pandemic started.
Great. Okay, go ahead, Kevin. Thanks.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about big risk or risks you've taken and how that has changed the path of the businesses.
I would say the biggest risk that we took was quitting our corporate jobs to start Socialfly with no funding. So we bootstrapped our business. We've never raised any money for Socialfly. Courtney and I own the business 50-50. And it was definitely a really big risk to do that. Going back to what Courtney was saying before, I'm usually the one that's like always so optimistic about absolutely everything. So I'm like, we'll quit our jobs if we're, I actually didn't even think it wouldn't work out. I just believed I knew that it would. And Courtney had her backup plan. She's like, if this doesn't work in a few months, I can always go back and get a job. But it was definitely a really big risk to do that. Neither of us really had experience running a business. We both worked in the corporate world. We definitely used a lot of what we learned in the corporate world, took the really good parts of it and brought it to Socialfly, and the things we didn't like about it, we left behind. But that was definitely probably the biggest risk that we took. And then going forward, as we started to grow our business, every time we've had to make a big investment in the business, whether it's investing in people and senior level talent, or, a few years in business when we got our first bigger office space, we're signing for all of that personally. So if something happens with our business, they're coming after us, they're not coming after investors, they're coming after our personal assets. And we knew that it was up to us to build this company company and do whatever we could do to grow it and help all of these other businesses as a result. And while it was definitely a very big risk, it's definitely been worth the reward.
I wonder, Courtney, could you tell us, I mean, you both went from the corporate world to become entrepreneurs, but Stephanie told us about coming from Cornell. Could you tell us about your own path and what you learned from corporate America to translate into your businesses?
Yes, yeah. So growing up, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and I thought, well, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do when I enrolled at NYU. I did not think that I wanted to go down a path of entrepreneurship. I actually wanted to do the opposite of what my family did. I studied economics while I was there. When I was there, Facebook was only available to college students. They opened it up to the non-Ivy League at the time, so I got in. And I found myself spending hours and hours of my time on Facebook, but it never occurred to me that that could actually be what I did after I graduated. And after I graduated, which was in 2009, there were not a lot of jobs. We were just coming out of a recession, and I actually graduated without a job. And thankfully, a few months after I graduated, one of my best friends actually who went to Cornell got me a interview with where she was working, which was an insurance company in Massachusetts. And I got accepted. They offered me a position, and I enrolled in their what they called the Future Leaders Training Program because they were trying to build their pipeline of talent because they realized that most of their employees were over 50 and they didn't really have a pipeline of talent to fill those roles when they were retiring. So it was a strategy that they put in place. And for 2 years, I received management training, and I got placed in an underwriting program. So I got exposed to, looking at financials, underwriting companies, and it was really, really valuable experience. But it was also very different from what I was used to. I grew up in New York City. I went to NYU, and I missed New York. And I really wanted to go back. And also during that time, I met Stephanie, and I was so fascinated by what she was doing in social media, and I really saw that as an opportunity. When I was trying to go back to New York, I applied to a bunch of positions and got offered a position at American Express in their corporate finance department, and I supported one of the marketing teams and had to analyze their business initiatives and do a lot of cost benefit analysis and a lot of product analysis as well. For their corporate cards. During that time, they were doing a lot of partnerships with Facebook and Foursquare and Twitter and doing such innovative things with social media. And that's really what opened my mind to how social media could really help transform all size businesses, even a credit card company. The types of capabilities that they were leveraging at the time were really, really innovative. And that's when I knew, okay, I've been working in the world for 3 years now, spent a lot of my time working. I'm really hardworking. And if I'm going to continue to work for as long as I have to, I want to do something that I'm really passionate about. And it wasn't corporate finance anymore. I wanted to get into marketing. It was digital marketing. It was analytical. It was also creative. It was also new and exciting. And that's when I shared that with Stephanie. And then we just started working nights and weekends together and then quit our jobs. And I would say that corporate experience really helped in launching Socialfly because it gave me perspective on how businesses are run.
So can we've got a lot of people on the call who are students or are newer entrepreneurs or thinking about doing the leap that you both did to start their own organization. I wonder if you have any advice or tips on people who are thinking about making the leap themselves, either of you.
We have so many tips, and we're actually about to put them all out in a big post on our 9-year anniversary on Tuesday. But some of the things that I'll share, the first one is just start. There's never going to be a perfect time to start a business. You're never going to know everything before you start something. You just have to start. You're going to figure it out as you go. You're going to learn along the way. You're going to make mistakes, but you'll learn from them and you'll write them down and you'll try not to repeat them. So my best piece of advice is just start. And I have many more tips that definitely follow us because we're sharing them all out next Tuesday. Court, what do you think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I mean, Stephanie and I have learned a lot of the same lessons over the years. So for anyone looking to start something, I would say telling people your idea. You know, in a lot of your conversations, you're going to get really great advice, things that you probably wouldn't expect to hear. And then think about, you know, what is it going to take to launch your business? What are your strengths and what skills do you need that you may not have? And maybe look for a co-founder or kind of ask around or partner with someone who can help you do what you don't know how to do or don't have the skills to do.
And I don't think we mentioned this, but Courtney and I have very opposite skill sets. So we like to say we divide and conquer with everything that we do. From when we first started Socialfly, I always focused on our sales and marketing of the agency. Courtney's always focused on our operations and finance. And that's how we've really been able to, we say DAC, divide and conquer. That's how we get things done. And that's what we're doing now with dividing and conquering between Entreprenista and Socialfly. So we can both really focus and grow, continue to grow both entities.
I mean, you know, it's interesting. You might take it for granted, but maybe not. Like the fact that you started the company together and have now started other things together, and that you're really just founders joined at the hip. It's really special. Like it doesn't happen that often, like where people actually stay together for such a long time with these companies. So congratulations, I think is the right. I have two questions from the audience, if you don't mind. So what specific platforms or tools do you find are the best use of marketing dollars for startups? And when do you recommend hiring a focused marketing officer internally versus a social media agency? That's question number one.
It really depends on what you're launching, but if it's a D2C product and you're trying to reach consumers, there really is no better marketing capability than Facebook and Instagram. Although with the new iOS updates, we'll have some updates in the months to come because the privacy constraints there may be an issue. But we have seen our clients really grow significantly through investments in Facebook and Instagram ads. So I would start there and with influencers, but it also really depends on who you're trying to reach and what platforms they are on. And also email marketing is really the number one way to reach your customers still and convert. And search is also important. So having someone on your team that really understands all the nuances of digital marketing and the omni-channel approach is key. When it makes sense to hire for someone is always, you know, when can you afford it? A lot of times we speak to entrepreneurs who say, you know, first hire the consultant, start that way first, and then, you know, hire someone when you can afford it. And also advice that I've heard that we haven't done, and maybe we will one day, we'll have findings to report back, is, you know, hire someone who's higher level than you need at the time, so that as you grow, they are helping you scale and grow to what their experience level is. So those are some tips.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, you touched on this, you know, Socialfly is completely bootstrapped, right? There's no, you don't have your own investors, which is another, I think, you know, makes you guys special. In terms of how you've actually grown. Stephanie, you were going to say something?
What was I going to say? I was going to share a social media tip for people who are starting their businesses, if you would like one.
Yeah.
All right. So especially if you're first launching something new, you really want to think about who your customers are, what platforms are they spending their time on, and how can you create content that's going to provide value to your customers. So no longer is social media a place where, as a brand, you can just be putting out content, talking about yourself, like thinking of yourself like me, look at me, I'm selling this new sweatshirt today, buy it today. Like no one cares about that. You have to think about your social as a content destination for your customers or your guests or whoever you're looking to reach. What type of content is going to be interesting to them, make them laugh, allow them to learn something, and make them want to come back to your channels every single day. If you aren't thinking about your social channels as a content destination for your customers, and you're just thinking about it as a marketing channel to put out content about yourself, you will not win on social. It has to be a place to connect, to inspire, and to help your customers or your guests.
So do a lot of your clients, this gets back to the first question, do a lot of your clients have social media, managers inside, and then they also hire you as the agency?
Yes. So a lot of times our clients will have a whole digital department or marketing department. It really depends on the size of the client. Sometimes we work with clients that have a 2-person marketing team, and we're speaking directly with those 2 points of contact. Sometimes our clients will have 10, 20 plus people on their marketing team, and we're typically speaking to the digital marketing specialists within the company who manage the agency relationship. The fact of the matter is social media is very, very time consuming, labor intensive. And even if you decide to hire those resources internally, it's still beneficial to work with an agency because we know all of the latest and greatest technologies, what's working well on one client, and we can bring those findings to you. Whereas when you have everything internal, you can't see outside of yourself.
Right.
And that's the benefit to working with an agency.
Yeah.
Something that I struggled with over the years as a helper, wanting to help and work with every single potential client that I was talking to, because I genuinely just wanted to help their business grow, but they weren't always a right fit for Socialfly based on how we were scaling and growing our agency. So what started to happen was, these business owners would reach out to us wanting to talk to myself and Courtney and pick our brain and, learn from us, but we couldn't take everyone on as clients. So now what I'm so excited about with Entreprenista is we have tools and solutions for smaller businesses and startup businesses through Entreprenista that we're not able to offer through Socialfly. So we're really able to help everyone now, specific types of clients through the agency side through Socialfly, and then a lot of startup founders through our solutions with Entreprenista.
Cool. I got a couple more questions. Or Kevin, do you have one? I saw you.
I want to ask one more question, Zach,
Yeah.
and I'm going to land my part right on 140 as advised by you. And I want to ask if where people can find you and follow you on social media. Or maybe you're going to pull up a card right now. I don't know.
I need to make one of those. I don't have one, but I did put it. I don't know, actually, this shows up on the screen or just on my Zoom screen, my Instagram handle there, but to follow Entreprenistas and Socialfly on Instagram, we're at Socialfly and at Entreprenistas, ENTREPRENISTAS. Our website is socialflyny.com and entreprenista.com. And our podcast, you can find anywhere where you listen to podcasts on iTunes or Spotify, iHeart. Just type in Entreprenista and hit subscribe, and you will hear all of our latest episodes. Every single Monday, we release a new episode.
Yep. And all those links are going into the chat now, by the way.
Oh, awesome. Yay.
So people can see them.
Thank you.
Let's talk about privacy for a second. So Courtney, you just alluded to this a second ago. What are your thoughts on leveraging, in terms of the privacy, in terms of the move to privacy, then you mentioned some of the Apple changes and the GDPR changes. How is that going to influence what you guys do?
We are still assessing the impact and looking for new strategies to leverage to help minimize the impact. So stay tuned. We'll have some more thoughts on it probably in the months to come as we adjust to this new rollout that Apple just launched.
And we work directly with Facebook as an agency partner. So we're in touch with them every single day, and they're helping us through everything with our clients, making sure that they're still going to be set up for success. But we will see what happens with all of their advertising in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I can imagine. Another person asked, do you charge a flat rate or do you have a sliding scale? Is it hourly? What is Socialfly's business model?
Yeah, so we bill based on the estimated amount of time it takes to run your piece of business. We have data from all size clients, so we typically work on a monthly retainer based on the amount of hours we think it's going to take to service your business. And then our media side of the business is a percentage of spend. So if you spend, $10,000 a month, it's one fee. And if you scale up to millions of dollars a month, it's another percentage. So that's the pricing model.
Okay. Another question. What are the most prevalent challenges you see entreprenistas facing today? I probably should get both. We should get both of your perspectives on this.
Yeah, I think that there are so many different tools and solutions out there. When you start a new business, you end up in these databases and you start getting marketed to by all of these different companies, and you don't know which tools and solutions to use and what works and what doesn't work. And it can be extremely overwhelming. So again, one of the reasons why we started Entreprenista, we wanted to streamline this. So when an Entreprenista comes to our website, you have a list of all of the tools and solutions myself and Courtney have used to grow Socialfly, and we know that they work because it's what we've used. It's something that we needed when we first started our business. We were just constantly, asking everyone for their advice, and we were getting solicited with everything and testing out all these things. So definitely a resource that has all of this information, which is what we've built and are continuing to build.
Excellent. Courtney, anything to add to that?
Yes, something I mean, fortunately, Stephanie and I were able to figure out how to cash flow our business and not have to raise money. But for a lot of women, raising money is very, very tough. I forget what the exact stat is, but it's a single-digit percentage in terms of the amount of money that they are able to receive from venture capital. So our network, thankfully, actually has a lot of VCs in it. So our hope with the Entreprenista League that launches on Tuesday is that we'll be able to make some meaningful introductions and increase the amount of funding that women entrepreneurs receive when they go to raise money.
And I can share, a few weeks ago, I made an introduction to Entreprenistas together. One is raising her Series A, the other is a VC, and I introduced the two of them together. She is investing $1.5 million in her business. So making meaningful, powerful connections to business owners is what Courtney and I absolutely love, and are so glad that we're able to just continue to help others grow their business.
Yeah, I was going to ask what's your most proud moment lately. So that might be it. I don't know.
That is definitely a proud moment. I mean, I'll say launching the podcast was definitely one of our proudest moments, because we were able to create this platform for women that a few years ago, we didn't. Now I think there's many more shows, and especially podcasts, that we see with, featuring women business owners. But when we first started, there really weren't any. And we were like, how is there this void in this podcast space? Why is no one talking about these incredible stories? And for us to be able to create that and be able to share all of these stories and journeys and celebrate all of these women and their achievements and successes, it's humbling, and we're so grateful to be able to do it every day.
That's great. Anything to add to that, Courtney?
I know Gwen is speaking next, and she's one of our incredible Entreprenistas who has an awesome episode. So I'm excited everyone will get to hear her too.
All right. Well, listen, we're at 1:45. So perfect time to break. Any final comments from either of you before we go off?
Follow your passion, and the success and the money will come. Just keep going.
Yeah, and I would say, when you're meeting new people, definitely try to help more than you take. And eventually, it'll all come back to you is what I've realized in business. And I've been looking at this drawing on the screen, and I noticed it probably 10 minutes ago, and I would love to receive a copy of this because I'm fascinated by it.
Well, we'll have it digitally available for sure.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. I should mention at the beginning of every session. So we have a live recording artist who's drawing our presentations. We do this at our other big conference in New York City as well. Yeah, and in New York City they do it live on stage, which is kind of cool. So you can see it as the speakers are speaking. Okay, so great. So listen, for the audience, we'll be back at 2:00 with the Student Business of the Year competition finals. I see Stephanie doing something on social right
I
now.
gotta take a picture.
Yep, I can tell what you're up to. So thank you to Stephanie, Courtney, and of course, Kevin. And again, Kevin, best of luck at University of Richmond. I'm sure you're going to do wonders there. So have a fun time moving down south. You're actually kind of right in the middle of us and the folks in Miami. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. And Stephanie and Courtney, this was just great. Thanks for sharing your time with Cornell. We're grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll see you back at 2:00.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
everyone.